and election interfering witch hunt.
This is a look of panic. It's in the eyes of every redneck Trumper, from Fresno to Dairy Queen. Their bowels loosening because the first numbers are in, and they're not good for MaxiPad. According to the latest from Reuters Ipsos, Harris is leading Trump 44% to 42. But when you add Crazy K,
I am going to take back this country with your help.
It gets better for Harris as her numbers go even higher. So two things are going to happen. The first is great. We thank Joe Biden for understanding and allowing Kamala and the nation to move forward with a vision and an economy that Biden corralled and helped grow strong and stable. The vision is simple. The nation is ready to put the past behind us. From January 6th to Project 2025, no one wants the violent and divisive future Trump and his ankle biters propose.
The country's going to burn.
But Harris's numbers, which will improve, also will fuel the dangerous and literally traitorous mobs.
And I'm coming for all of them. And what does that mean when I say coming for all of them? It means the most legal, moral, and ethical consequences to the maximum, to include the maximum punishment for treason. I personally guarantee that they're going to face those consequences.
I don't mean the January 6th crowd specifically, but the racist blather already starting to grow and fester.
Her public schedule, gentlemen, rarely has anything on it, or one or two things on it. She does not speak well. She does not work hard.
They're not even trying to hide it, saying a black woman can't speak and doesn't like to work. And soon you'll start to hear even stronger dog whistles.
I believe wholeheartedly Donald Trump and Butler County's J.D. Vance are the last chance to save our country politically. I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be saved. It's the greatest experiment in the history of mankind. And if we come down to a civil war, I'm glad we got people like Schmitty and the Bikers for Trump on our side. You see, 248 years ago, our forefathers had a vision. They had a plan. They wanted to create a country where you could go where you want to go, do what you want to do, live the way you want to live, pray the way you want to pray.
Dude, this one always gets me. No one is telling you can't pray. No Democrat is saying we have to be a Muslim nation or a Jewish nation or, like me, an atheist nation. But Republicans, they want a Christian nation, and more to the point, a white Christian nation.
If you don't like our religion, then we don't want you in our country.
Some will say now that I am calling America a Christian nation. And so I am. And some will say that I am advocating Christian nationalism, and so I do.
That's Josh Hawley, a douche extraordinaire, defying Madison's intent on the First Amendment. But the hits keep on coming.
Just because it makes you feel uncomfortable doesn't mean it has to change. You know, I mean, Jesus was a white man too, but you know, it's like, he was a historical figure. I mean, that's a verifiable fact.
These two mopes want a white Christian nation, but forget that Jesus ain't white.
Jesus was a white man.
No, Jesus looked a whole lot more like Prince than Kid Rock, but that doesn't stop talk radio white boys from letting it all hang out.
Chaos and violence in their communities.
Send the military into these black neighborhoods, make the streets safe. They'll complain about it. It doesn't matter.
We should send in the troops if necessary to restore order.
Enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, to drink out of a different water fountain. Big fucking deal.
Oh, the legacy of Jim Crow. That was 67 years ago. It is ancient history now.
Fortunately, Kamala Harris is tough, and where MaxiPad spends half his day on his hair and spray tan, Kamala has years as an effective and successful prosecutor. She's not a robot, though. I mean, it must hurt to hear these racist chants years after Brown versus the Board of Education and the Civil Rights Act.
Look at my African-American over here.
But again, fortunately, she has the spit and the brains to crush this cracker militia. Americans will vote for Kamala Harris because and despite the color of her skin.
And the Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white.
While MAGA waves Confederate flags, the rest of the country looks at them like the ugly reminders of what was and might be again.
I say this to my Republican colleagues who are defending the indefensible. There will come a day when Donald Trump is gone, but your dishonor will remain.
And old school Republicans who, while supporting different agendas, have, like Democrats, learned a lesson. The fights we had over fiscal policy look trivial as we face a perilous future should a Trump figure ever reach the White House again.
Terrible path that they're leading us to. And it's very possible that
it's going to happen to them.
Revenge does take time, I will say that.
It does.
And sometimes revenge can be justified.
MAGA cannot be ignored.
When Biden took office, Miss Waffle House was banned from a seat on committees because of her threats against Speaker Pelosi and her insane conspiracies. But along with Lauren, I'm good with my hands Boebert.
Boebert occasionally took a break from being disruptive to enjoy the company of her male companion. He briefly had a grasp on the situation.
They continue to spread lies while calling for violence and fear to rule the day. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance is acclimating to his role as Trump's Bull Connor, lobbing racist and misogynistic tropes Harris's way.
The weirdest thing to me, Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything.
J.D. Vance once said that Kamala Harris is a childless cat lady who is miserable with her life because she didn't have children, and that not having children means she doesn't have a direct stake in America. Okay, besides being callous and cruel, that speaks to the Alabama case, representing millions of men and women desperately trying to have a child who are now denied the technology that could assist that end. All by Trump and his extreme judges. And as far as the comments that Kamala is a cat lady and not an American because she hasn't birthed a child, how's that going to go down with independents and even MAGA trying to get pregnant? They'll probably arrive at the same conclusion I have regarding Vance's character. He's a dick.
Donald Trump's supporters are not violent people.
Kamala Harris is not just the face of future America. She's good people. A good person who will include never-Trumpers like Cheney and Kinzinger in any future Democratic administration as to fend off the next wave of this Cracker Barrel Confederacy.
Trump replaces over 50,000 civil servants with hardline MAGA loyalists. The federal oath of office now requires declaring loyalty to the president, not the Constitution.
But prepare yourself for this. Republicans are the biggest snowflakes anywhere, and they will cry foul when they lose. In fact, they're already doing it.
We had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again.
If there's anything worth taking away from Trump's long and rambling RNC speech, it was those 10 seconds. The MAGA tough guys will never accept defeat the same way they suck their gut in and pretend they're not fat. They will go violent, threatening politicians, activists, legislators, and Kamala Harris herself.
And you know what? The audience swung back. And I thought it was very, very appropriate. The audience hit back. And that's what we need, a little bit more of.
So this poll number, while encouraging and most probably will get bigger, means other things too. One, Trump will lose the popular vote again, as every Republican has except Bush in 2004 for the last 36 years. But Trump's Supreme Court and federal judges scattered across the U.S. means another thing. The outcome needs to be so overwhelming that Trump cannot intimidate or count on Thomas and Alito to bail him out. MaxiPad is a loser, and even with Russia's renewed interference, it won't be enough.
He told Julia Yaffe, quote, "I think Russian propaganda has made its way into the United States, unfortunately, and it's infected a good chunk of my party's base." He singled out primetime shows on conservative channels. Do you agree with him? And how big is this problem?
Oh, it is absolutely true.
But the MAGA Republicans are unfettered by losing the election, as they believe they've put in place the means to take it regardless. But fortunately for us, our candidate is not only badass, but represents a generation of young and middle-aged who are tired of this shit and will vote and then stand defiantly to the MAGA humps and their attempts to strong-arm our democracy. The numbers are growing, and Kamala Harris will prove that America has moments of greatness again. But more importantly, we know what Trump will try to do, and we know when. But you know what? F*** him. We're gonna win.
Damn right.
Trust me.
Shut the f*** up, Don.
Who's with me?
Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, right.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.